Well, hello to everybody, and welcome back for another edition of our Commit to Be Fit Health Wrap today. For the Consiglio Wellness Center, I'm Mike Haggerty, and I have a very special guest today. We've got Kristyn, and we're really excited to have. You've done so much in your life. Um, it's exciting to hear some of the things. I was kind of going through the rap sheet on you, Kristyn. I'm looking at. Some of the things that I wrote down, and you're a consumer science teacher with the Blue Springs School District. You're a swim coach. You're a business owner. You're a dog owner. You've got so many things in your repertoire. How do you make time for all of this? And maybe give us a little bit of history and background. We bring you on because not only are you an interesting person, but you have you're really into health and wellness, obviously. And so that's why we brought you on as a special guest today. So give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Raytown, went to Raytown High School. My parents still live there, so still involved over there. My husband and I met in high school. He went there too. And so we were high school sweethearts. We both went to UCM, graduated from there, and he has a degree in construction management and safety, and mine's in family and consumer sciences. And then he moved to Texas, and I taught for my first year in Raytown. So went back to my alma mater, which was so awesome to be back there and experience. I taught in the classroom that I went to for my FACS classes, which was really cool. And then I moved to Texas a year later, and I taught in West Fort Worth, and I was a cheer coach there. And 5 years went by really quick, and we moved back. This is my second year at Blue Springs. So we moved back because he got a promotion. And so he's the logistics and safety director for a local construction company and all of their cranes. And so I've been at South for 2 years, and it's been awesome. I teach nutrition and wellness and child development. So those are really cool classes to teach. I really enjoy those. Like you said, I'm a swim coach. I'm also a manager of a local family-owned butcher shop in Liberty. We live up north, so I got a lot going on. And we have 2 dogs, and we just are living life to the fullest right now.
Kristyn, tell us a little bit about your idea and philosophy with as a consumer science teacher. How do you blend that into your health and wellness strategies in the classroom? How does that work?
I think since the content I teach is so relatable to everyone, we all eat, we all are somehow interacting with a child at some point in your life. I can also teach fashion and some other things. You need to learn how to sew on a button. You need all of these practical skills. It's really easy for me because I can tell them, okay, well, tonight my husband and my kid asked me, well, what do you cook for dinner? And I said, well, last night we had a pot roast that I made in the crock pot, and tonight we're going to have stuffed shells. And he said, oh, you don't eat out all the time? And I said, no, we don't. And so it's just funny to see how the kids kind of, their minds are working compared to what they're doing. I mean, I think that gives them ideas of like, oh, we could be cooking at home, or we could be doing this. I do snack in class. So I try to eat some pretty healthy things. Fruit, carrots, and hummus was a big thing, and I was eating it in class. And they were like, what is that? And so I let them taste it. So I think it's really easy for me because it's something they're all doing and they're all seeing. So they just get intrigued by the things I'm doing.
Awesome. And you saw on the screen, Sherri has joined us. Hello, Sherri.
Hi. Sorry.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, I fell off the screen for a second. Speaking of health and wellness, I'm going to have like carpal tunnel from all the flu shots I've been giving. So I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late to join the party.
We totally understand, Sherri, and we do appreciate you jumping on this. Regardless of whether it's a couple minutes late or whether it was a couple minutes early, we love to have you. So thank you. And excitingly, you, Kristyn, you have also, with this business that you've taken under your wing, you and your husband, you also look at this as another area of your life where you can kind of share health and fitness and wellness because of the type of foods that you have. Can you give us a little bit of background with your business?
So I am just a go-getter. I have to always be moving and going. And so when COVID hit and I was at home teaching, I was like, okay, I'm bored now. What do I do? And so I like to work at a golf course in the summer in the sun. My dad plays golf. Well, that obviously wasn't going to happen. So my husband does competition smoking for barbecue, and he needed me to go grab, I don't even remember what, but he was like, go to this meat market. You have to be there when they open. You have to get there, get in line and get this. And so I did. And he jokingly said, you should work there. And I said, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't think I can cut meat. I can do that. And so I asked, and she said, sure, like come in for an interview. And so it was May, and I went in for an interview and started working there. And then she offered me the manager position, which was crazy to me. But being able to see that side of things with my degree, I didn't really, I mean, I know about food, I know about nutrition, I know how to cook, but I don't see the like breaking down process, the cutting, the storing, all of those things. And so to be able to see that was really cool. I've talked about it in class a few times. My kids are like, you like cut a whole cow up? And I'm like, well, no, we have it broken down, but it's just really cool to see that aspect and then bring that back to the classroom, which was a huge thing for me, being able to we have a meat unit, and that's never been my favorite thing, because I just cook the meat, I cook, and that's it. But to be able to tell them the process of it, where it's coming from, all the different types of meat, all of that has been really cool. And so that's really helped me with the school. But I also just really enjoy it. It's something different than teaching. I'm interacting with adults that there are some that come in and don't know anything about meat, and I can educate them. The Uppercut does sell the top 2% of beef cattle in the world. And so we have Akushi, which is a Japanese type of beef. And so it's really cool to be able to educate people on that. We have an Angus line, chicken and pork. So it's really cool to just be able to be in there and meet a whole different set of people than I ever would working as a teacher or coach and things like that. And then trying new things and trying new cuts of beef is really fun. So it's been interesting. Seeing the small business side of things, I would have never seen that in my life. Seeing the small business side of things, the farms are in Richmond and in Kearney. It's very local. It is one family. The owner is a little bit younger than me, and she's a 6th generation rancher, which is so cool. And we're a female team. I mean, we're young, we're under 30. 2 people running a store that are under 30 and female is, I mean, you don't see it very often. So it's really cool to be able to do that and kind of have that aspect of helping people with something that's a little more male dominated. So it's been a really cool experience, and I've really enjoyed it.
And Kristyn, I may have misstated that as far as the owner, but you do manage the shop is that right?
Yes. Yep. I do. So she comes in and she'll work a few days a week. But I'm the manager. So it's either her or me there. And so we're in charge. She does like the buying side and stuff, because that's just totally out of my realm, and she's been doing it. But yeah, I manage the store.
And let's just go ahead and grab another ball and throw it up in the air, as you are also a swimming coach at Blue Springs South. Is that correct? Give us a little bit of insight on.
It's my first year. Yeah.
And you have time for this. When do you have time for this?
Yeah. I don't know. Swim season hasn't started, so we're going to tackle that when it happens. I swam for like a club team in Raytown in the summer for my whole childhood, and that was so fun. I would stay the night at my friend's house in the summer and get up and go to swim practice and walk home, and we would have swim meets. And so then I swam in high school at Raytown High School. And I coached there. My first year, I coached girls swimming. And then when we moved to Texas, they already had a swim coach, and it just didn't work out for swim. And then I was the cheer coach. And so I came back home. And last year I was like, there's something missing. Like, Blue Springs South is great. I love my department. I love the girls, but I'm missing something. And my husband was like, well, you're not coaching. That's probably it. And so they posted that there was a swim coach opening. And so I emailed Michael and said, hey, I'm really interested. And come to find out, Obi, the head swim coach, and I have a lot of mutual friends from swimming. One of his good friends was my coach growing up. So Season starts in about 3 weeks, and we will see how full my plate gets from that. But I'm really excited just to be back, building relationships with kids other than in the classroom. Building relationships is really important to me. And so getting to see a whole nother set of kids and build those relationships, I'm really looking forward to. Not sure about the early practices. I haven't got up that early in a long time, but I'm excited.
Two of my daughters, Mariah and Michaela, were both divers, and here at Blue Springs at the high school, and they were also cheerleaders. Went on and cheered in college, and actually, my youngest daughter switched over from diving and I'm sorry, went from cheerleading to diving, and now she's actually coaching diving in the St. Louis area, and she gets a great kick out of it. But I'm going to ask you from a different perspective, maybe. Me coaching wrestling in my past background, every sport kind of has its athlete, the type of athlete that seems to kind of like make it the best in that particular sport, what draws them into the sport. Wrestlers tend to be high risk. And of course, my daughters too, sort of high risk athletes and being on the board. What do you think defines swimming? What defines a swimmer? What do you see the characteristics being in most of those athletes?
I think being versatile. We all have our own stroke, but being versatile. So if someone's hurt or someone gets injured and I need you to swim fly, and everyone hates fly. Unless you are a flyer, you hate fly. But being able to know the key to that stroke and being able to be confident to say, okay, like I can do this, let's go. And really just the commitment. Swim is such a workout on your whole body. And there are times where like you can't move, along with any sport. But I just think being versatile and being really committed, which I think in any sport is a really good thing to have. Like I said, I've been out of coaching swim for a while, so I'm excited to see these girls. And I know OB has done amazing things with the swim program at South, and that swim at South is a really competitive and really great sport they excel in. And so I'm really excited to be on with a team that has those things and that's already in place. I'm going to be one of the assistants. So that I think will be really good learning for me as well. I was the head cheer coach when I was at in Texas. And so being able to kind of take a step back and learn from other people, I think is going to be an awesome opportunity that I'm really excited about.
Phenomenal. Hey, I'm going to give Sherri a shot at this, because actually Sherri was the one that introduced me to the idea of bringing you on, and very excited that she did. Sherri, some questions that you'd like to maybe ask Kristyn, or comments.
Oh, well, this is kind of both. So Kristyn and I kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday, but something that I think is so important for lifelong health is making it part of kind of starting these habits out as young as possible, and it just kind of becomes a way of life. And I think, certainly being a high school swim coach gives you the opportunity to impact, kids in that way. But especially swim, because it's not really, while it's a team competition, there's an individual sport within the team. And I think that's so fascinating and such a great lifelong activity. I mean, how many, Silver Sneakers programs incorporate swimming? So it's literally a form of movement that you can do from birth and your entire lifetime.
Kristyn, do you find that a lot of your athletes that you work with will likely have that passion? I know that you're sort of young in your career, but do you feel like a lot of those athletes will take that passion over into other areas of fitness when they walk out? And you could answer that question possibly even from the classroom as well, as you work with these young students and trying to define their boundaries and what they are going to do moving forward as they leave high school, taking those essential skills with them, whether it's health and wellness and fitness from the swimming program or your classroom dealing with the food. So I'll let you comment on that a little bit.
even if it's not immediately after that you're like, oh, I'm going to swim in college or whatever. Swimming is just such a good exercise for your body. And Sherri and I talked about this yesterday. When you're pregnant, and yoga and swimming and all of those things, those alleviate pressures from the weight of carrying a child. And we talk about that in child development. So I think, and when you have little kids, you're going to take them swimming. So I think at some point, most people that have gotten a pool are going to realize like this is a good workout. It's a low impact workout for your body, but it's working all of your muscles. And like Sherri said, all of the older people that can't get a lot of movement that can go do an easy water aerobics class. I just think it is a lifelong activity. Whether you swam in high school and then you kind of don't swim anymore and then you go back to it, I just think that is something a lot of people will go back to at some point. I would say most everyone has, sorry, you're vacuuming. Most everyone has swam in their life at some point. And like my best friend, she just had a baby a year and a half ago and she just loves the water. So this summer we went to the pool all the time, and it's fun to see, you're fine, that transformation of from going from a little kid to getting older. Like I said, I swam when I was little. I swam in high school. I kind of let go of that in college just because I did a lot, but I mean, not often, but I go back to the pool now and swim some laps. And I just think that it is beneficial for everyone at some point in their life, and with the nutrition aspect as well. Just like that, it's a lifelong thing, like Sherri said. So if we're starting young, it's something that we can continue, which I think is awesome. My husband was a wrestler in high school, and so he always goes to the gym and does like wrestling workouts and things. And so it's just something that's familiar, which I think is also big for people when they're working out or focusing on their wellness. It's uncomfortable to go to the gym and try to go do like a HIIT class if you've never done that in your life. And so going back to something that's a little familiar, you know, those certain moves, or you know, that swim stroke, I think gives people a little more confidence, and they build it up, and then they realize, okay, I think maybe I'll go try a yoga class, or I'll go try a HIIT class. So
What does your workout look like? What do you try to do weekly? What would be a typical workout for you, Kristyn?
at this point, with all of what I'm doing, a workout for me is honestly taking my dogs on a walk. I take them individually, so about 3.5 miles, a mile and a half for each dog. And Stella, our sweet child Stella, she is a strong one. So it's more of like a dog with her. She's pulling, things like that. When I can, I like to do at-home workouts just because it's easier for me. So I do like some 30-minute classes with some programs I'm a part of. And I usually, if the weather's nice, I do those outside on my deck just to get some fresh air. But walking, I would say at this point in my life, is probably the biggest thing. My nutrition is more what I focus on. But I would obviously always love to add something more into my routine. I think I was talking with Sherri yesterday about how I might try to start 5:30 yoga on Thursdays at the wellness center. But right now, I mean, very minimal, but still trying to get those steps in. And you know, my watch alerts me if I'm under my movement for the day, so I try to get that at least to close.
Well, yeah, and thank you for the plug. We are adding some classes over at the Blue Spring South Aquatic Center. We're adding in November morning classes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those will be broken up in different ways. Yoga. I think Kristyn is going to be doing a hot yoga class 2 days a week. We're also going to use some TRX bands on the other alternating days. We're also adding some other classes on Monday in the afternoon and Wednesday in the afternoon in November. Those will be coming up pretty soon, and we'll post those on our website and our Facebook pages as well. So thanks for bringing those up. But
yeah, I'm excited.
I'm really excited about those. I think they're going to bring some diversity into our workouts, and the hot yoga is certainly something that a lot of people enjoy. I've done some hot yoga up in Kansas City, and I really, really enjoy those workouts. They're excruciating workouts for 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and they can be pretty brutal. But anyway, hey, just a couple more questions for you, unless Sherri's got a few more things for you. But I've got to ask you, being a teacher and a coach, what's your most favorite thing about teaching and coaching?
100% building relationships with kids. That has always been a big focus for me. I want to be more than a teacher to them. I want to know what's going on in their life. I want to be able to tell when they're having a bad day and be able to help them. I think that's why I became a teacher. I had a few teachers in high school that were very influential, very relationship centered, and that just made me feel awesome in the classroom, because there are some teachers that are not like that, and they are, let's get this done, here's your assignment, go. And so I think building relationships with students, and then since I only teach semester classes, I don't get them for the whole year. So like last year was my first year at South, and I was really worried because I came from a very urban school in Fort Worth, which I loved, but the dynamic was different. And so coming here, I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And the first day when we came back in person, I had kids from last year like, Miss B, I missed you. How have you been? How was your summer? And so that just meant the world to me. Being able to, for one semester, for 4 months, build enough of a relationship with them that they come back and say, hey, I made this at home and my family loved it. Or my mom had a baby this summer and I knew all of these things from child development. And it was so cool to watch my sister develop into this milestone. And I knew that was coming. And so I would say building a relationship with my students, especially because I teach a skill or a class that has life skills. So they're going to use them and they can relate to them. So it's something that they can think back on all the time. I would say that is 100% my favorite part.
Yeah, they can't throw their hands up and go, when am I ever going to use this? It's like, you're going to be using it a lot. Yes. Most everything in this class, you're going to be using on a daily basis. So yeah. What about on the other side of that, as far as teaching, coaching, what's the part that you don't like?
Grading.
And you don't have to be totally politically correct.
No, I think grading, just because there's so much, and I love doing the projects we do, but projects are a little harder than a worksheet or things like that. And so with 200 students, when they're making a digestive mobile right now. And so it's the digestive system. They cut it out and they write facts on it and they color it and they hang it up like a mobile, like a little baby mobile. But then I have to go and grade all of those and check for accuracy and things like that. So I would just say it's tedious. I don't want to say I don't like grading, because I do like to see the kids' expression and what they're finding. But it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, it definitely is. I would agree. From my experience teaching, that was the part that was always the toughest. Building the relationships, enjoying the students, the day-to-day operations of being in the classroom, the peer camaraderie, all of that is such a great experience. But definitely the grading can be overwhelming at times. It's tedious. Because it can be very tedious. Absolutely. Yeah. Sherri, clean us up. You're our cleanup hitter. Give us something. Come on, girl. What have you got?
Well, the pressure. Okay. Well, I would just say, I actually did. I realized earlier I never finished my thought. Duh. But is there a resource or something that you would maybe direct people to in regards to learning more about choosing healthy cuts of meat, or sort of even I think a lot of times, and I know you said this about yourself, and certainly growing up and in my home, you went to the grocery store and you just whatever was the cheapest, and you just got whatever. And there's so much more to that. And I think sometimes that too is also really overwhelming, and knowing the different cuts of, in this particular case, cuts of beef, or how it's raised, or, those kinds of things. Do you have a go-to, or is there something that some way you would direct people to help them educate themselves?
For cuts of beef, really, I have like a big chart at the store that I can show them and kind of explain to them. So I think if you just honestly Google like the whole cow and you put in cuts of beef, so it's kind of like our body. If you think about it this way, so someone came in and they said, I want ground beef that's not very fatty. And so I want the chuck. And we said, well, the chuck is the most fatty part. So if you think about that, that's kind of like your thigh and your booty, basically. That has a lot more meat on your leg, on the cow leg, than say our shin, where there's very little meat. So if you're going to want something less fatty, we're going to take it from there. And I think at grocery stores, they are just so like in the pace of, okay, here's what you want, here you go. Like, not so much educating, especially on a Saturday morning when they're really busy. So I think shopping small or shopping local or just calling and asking questions. We had someone call and say, I'm going to make my own ground beef. I have a cow, and how do I do this? And so we kind of walked them through it. So I think really just researching and asking questions and thinking about your body and where the more fatty parts of our body is, that's kind of the same for a cow. There are obviously special cuts, like between a flank steak and a skirt steak. People are always like, well, I don't know what one I want for fajitas. Well, really, it just depends, but we have different reasons. Everyone uses different. So I think really just on meat, educating yourself, and even it's like beefcouncil.gov, beefcouncil.org, Feed America, I can't even think of it, but there is a whole beef website and you can go to that and it breaks everything down. But local, I know there's a local butcher shop in Raytown. I mean, there's not a ton, but if you just think about a cow and where all of that weight is, there's going to be fatty parts. Obviously, like I think I told you guys, we get our cows, we raise them, we take them to a processor that takes them into quarters for us because we just don't have the space or the capacity to break down a whole cow. So they break it into fours for us, and then we break it down from there. And so I get a 400 pound leg that I have to break down from there, and we trim the fat off. And so I don't think people realize how much work goes into that and what's getting trimmed off. Like you said, whatever's the cheapest at the store, or pork's usually pretty cheap, things like that. So I think really just asking questions, and I know that's kind of hard because not everyone's going to go to a butcher shop, but even trying to ask the people at Hy-Vee, I know they have to pass some sort of test to be able to do that. So asking questions about that or just thinking about your own body would be my first tip. And just doing research. That's really how I had to learn too. I would Google a picture of a cow, and then I know, okay, well, I can get a chuck roast off of the chuck, but I also get most of my ground beef from there. A whole tenderloin is where the filet comes from. So if you ever got a filet mignon, it's the whole tenderloin, and we cut it down from there. A T-bone steak has part of the strip and part of the T-bone, the filet, a porterhouse. So that's the best cut because it has two, because it comes from that part of the cow. So if you're really wanting to know the intricate cuts, just looking at the cow and looking at those cuts, I think would help you the most.
That totally brings back some memories for me. My father and my uncle and grandfather owned two meat processing plants in a very small town in Higginsville. And so you were talking about Richmond and up the road. And certainly I remember those days because I was around it. My dad and my uncle actually were the butchers for these meat processing plants that they actually owned. One thing that you did mention that really caught my attention because of the health side of things, Kristyn, was the fact that didn't you mention that they were all grass-fed too?
Yeah, so we're all grass-fed, silage finished, because if you finish on grass, there's just not going to be much taste. We have an Angus line and we have the Akaushi line. Still both really good. Akaushi has a really good marbling in it. If you think people think we say a buttery fat, but it's a fat like an avocado. So it's a healthy fat for you. But yeah, grass fed, no hormones, no dyes, no like nothing. And then they're just silage finished. And I think that has been really big for us, especially with people, I would say, in my age or in their 20s to 30s, are very health conscious about those things now. The more research that's coming out and all of that, and people want organic or whatever that might be. I can't say we're organic, but we meet all of the qualifications. We just have not got a USDA stamp because it's a long process. But
And
I
it's
think that's something
expensive.
that makes us really marketable to a lot of people. It's so expensive. Yes, it is. But like
Yep.
our chicken breasts are from the Amish, they're Amish raised, no hormones, no additives, anything like that. They're raised on a farm, free range chickens, which is important to me. I never thought I'd care about where my chicken came from, but a free range chicken is important to me. And so we locally source those things, so we're helping other people too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does make a big difference. You know, and again, the source of the product, what those
Yes.
animals are eating is so important. It's not just the fact that you're eating chicken or you're eating cow or you're eating whatever it is. It's what those animals ate in their
Yes.
lifetime and how they were raised, if they were raised under stress, et cetera. So it does make a big difference. The science is pretty clear on that. And it's really cool to hear that that's what you guys are doing as well. So yeah, exciting stuff. Sherri, real quick, the last part of this, why don't we do some updates? I know you mentioned when you first got jumped on the broadcast that flu shots are going on right now. Give us an update of kind of what's taking place with the CWC.
So yeah, we started giving flu shots just as soon as we could. Certainly the recommendation this year is to get your flu shot. Well, early on, it was to get it as early as possible, but right now is the typical or more traditional time frame to get your flu shot. So if you haven't, it's more important this year than ever with everything going on. The protection for at least one of these bad viruses is definitely highly advised. So what we're doing is we are going out to our member school districts and giving those on site. And if we've missed you there or you want to bring your family in, please come see us at the Wellness Center. We just ask you to give us a call and let us know you're coming. We do a little bit of a quick screening before we let folks in, but we'd love to take care of you here 6 months and up. So we're doing that. Probably that's about it on flu shots. We have started our weight loss program a month ago, and I'm almost afraid to even mention it because it's so popular and those visits are filling up even faster than I had hoped. And I can't wait to continue to meet new patients and be with you during, your process and getting healthier. So, give us a call if that's something that you're interested in. That's really, really been super exciting, and I can't wait to see where that goes.
That's another real quick topic. Just from my perspective, the fact that we work together on that, Sherri, from the clinical and the wellness side, because I get to work with the clients that you obviously see. That this is a medically supervised program. This isn't just something that we're throwing at people. This is something that we, from start to finish, they come in on a weekly basis, and we want to make sure that they're following the protocol, et cetera. I don't know if you had any thoughts on maybe trying to share some of that with what that looks like for if somebody was like, I'm thinking about this. This is something I maybe I will do, but I'm not sure that this is the right time. What would you tell them?
So I like to think of our program as being really holistic, in that we have hopefully thought of things from multiple modalities to help you be successful. Quite honestly, when we first started looking at this program, as you know, Mike, that I wasn't interested in doing it unless I knew that we could do it the right way. And one of those factors for me was, from a medical prescription medication type standpoint, I can make most people lose weight with medication, but it's really important to me to help people do that, but also be able to make the lifestyle and behavioral changes that would support that that weight loss for a long, long time. And so, kind of in a nutshell, what the program looks like, and of course, there's lots of details to it, but the Reader's Digest version is we bring people in for a new patient visit. We do some lab work. We take a pretty extensive health history to make sure that you're a good candidate for the program. And then at that point, if you are, we have you see a nurse practitioner, myself, or my partner Patty once a month to follow that medical piece, make sure that you're making progress, make sure that you're adjusting well to medications that we might prescribe you to help with that. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of program, so a medication that might work for someone else may not work for you, kind of a situation. So we do that. Also, in that first visit, we get you started on a B complex injection that you can get once a week, and it has a few other ingredients in it that really helps with your metabolism and fat breakdown, and even really helps you have more energy and improves your mood. So it's kind of been really a helpful addition. And then, of course, also at that first visit, we give a little background explanation on what it looks like for them to come and see you, Mike. And I think that is sort of maybe even like, I don't want this to go to your head or anything, but it might be kind of the secret sauce where they're not just out on an island, like, what do I do? How do I change my lifestyle at home? And so it gives them the opportunity to work with somebody to help sort of tie it all together, help them with making those changes. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a copay associated with it, and depending on your individualized plan, what that might look like, but typically it's $35 or $50 a month, and you get all that good stuff for that. So it's pretty cool.
Pretty extensive, but yet pretty inexpensive. And I'm really excited to be a big part of that. I think that we're going to see some really great results by the time this gets going in the next few months. So thanks for all you do, Sherri.
Likewise.
And Kristyn, it was great to have you on today. I mean,
Thank
wow,
you.
what a ball of energy. And I've been wanting to say your full name because I said it wrong earlier, but it's Kristyn Babusa, right? Babusa. Okay.
Yes.
Babusa-Lucas. It's like,
Yes.
it should just flow, right? It should just
It
flow.
should, but it doesn't. And it's my husband's fault. It's both of his last names.
Babusa. And it's like SAW at the end. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay. I got to remember that. But good luck in your teaching this year and coaching, certainly, which is starting up here soon. You got a lot on your plate.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear about those Jags girl swimmers.
Yes, I know. I'm excited for the season.
All right, guys. Thanks for everything. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.